girl, calm down. Like, you do not need to be doing sprints, burpees, and going on the Stairmaster and just tiring myself out like crazy. Hey, my lovely. So, as you can see by the title, this video is about how I tricked my brain into getting 10,000 steps a day. And 10,000 steps is kind of that healthy barometer that has been created and set as a standard to incorporating into our day to day routine that helps to get us into shape and really kickstart that fitness journey. And I can be a testament to saying that me incorporating 10,000 steps a day into my daily routine has contributed to me losing 30 pounds. So I truly believe in this, and getting 10,000 steps a day is truly a game changer into getting into shape, and walking is so underrated. So I'm going to talk about how I was able to trick my brain into getting these 10,000 steps, because 10,000 steps a day is not easy. It can definitely feel overwhelming. Like, how will I get 10,000 steps in a day? Like, where am I going to find the time, right? We all lead very busy lives, but these are the ways that I was able to trick and like hack my brain into getting these steps. And also, if you're new here, my name's Coco. I talk all things fitness, self development, and wellness. So, what are you waiting for? Just, subscribe and join the tribe. We'd love to have you here because we are going to push each other on this everlasting journey, this fitness journey, which is something that should be like a lifestyle change and incorporation into your life. So, yeah, but also like this video if you're ready to get started on this journey, and comment down below what your goals are, and let's just accomplish them together. Okay, so the very first thing that I did in order to trick my brain into getting 10,000 steps a day was to break it up, right? Like I mentioned, 10,000 steps is a lot. Like, that can be very overwhelming if the most you get, if you were anything like me, where I was getting like 1,000 steps a day, because I just was so sedentary, always sitting. My job doesn't involve walking around a lot currently. So sitting is what I do pretty much all day, every day, right? Working for like 10 hours at the computer, sitting down. So if you are anything like that, where you have like your day to day, your work life, whatever, is pretty sedentary, or you're just not moving around at all, then the very first thing to help would be to break down those steps so they don't seem as daunting. Like, hearing 10,000 steps again just sounds really insane, going from starting from, zero and starting at like 1,000. So instead, saying like, you know what? I'm going to break it up into, increments, like, hey, 2,000 in the morning, 2,000 in the afternoon, like another 2,000 and like, right before getting off of work. So like, then you're already at 6,000, and then going for like an evening walk. And so like, breaking those up into increments makes it much more achievable and a lot less daunting, and feeling like, okay, you have to do it all at once, or like, this is the one and only opportunity I have to get these steps in. And that's how I used to feel at first. Like, I'm like, okay, like, I'm gonna go walk for like 3 hours or whatever the case may be, and like 5 miles right away, like 2 hours. Like, no, that is definitely overwhelming. And like, starting out with a goal that intense would then just make you feel like defeated if you can't accomplish it, and then you just want to give up entirely and then go back to being sedentary, like, what works best. But breaking it up into increments is something that really, really helped me, especially initially, because then it's like, hey, like, I'm already at 4,000 steps, and it's only like 12 o'clock. So it's also just more encouraging, and it makes you feel like, when you start to feel accomplished and you want to do more, you're like, hey, like, I've already got 4,000, like, let me go for another walk. So that's one major thing that helped me, is just breaking it down into smaller increments. And that's, something initially that helped me to like trick myself into getting these 10,000 steps every day. Next thing was to pair walking with like my daily habits, right? So like, I personally myself got a walking pad. So if I know that, I'm going to sit down and binge this TV show, then I know that that is going to be a big bulk of my time, right? Like, I'm just going to be sitting here, laying on the couch, eating snacks and all of what have you. And I'm just going to be like sitting there, like, a couch potato. So I knew that that was something that also took up a great deal of my time. So instead of saying like, oh no, I'm going to be watching TV, like when am I going to find the time? Because I'm either working or I'm just trying to have some time to myself. So instead of making that, hey, I'm just watching TV, like I would pair that with walking, right? So I have a walking pad and I'll get on my walking pad and walk while I'm watching the TV show. So it's a great way to pair that with something that otherwise would just cause me to be really lazy and just like kind of like a slouch. And really it also would help me to avoid just like mindless snacking, because we all know how it is where you're just like kicked up on the couch and you're watching your favorite TV show and just, along with binge watching, like binge eating, like just like cookies, popcorn, and just like mindlessly eating at that. Like the intensity of the show goes up, the intensity of my amount of eating goes up. So I had to realize, like, okay, like instead of pairing watching TV with this habit of eating, like let me pair that with something healthier, which is walking. And before I know it, I don't even realize that I'm walking because I'm so into the show, and I like, into the plot. So then it's just like the perfect combination of walking and getting my steps in, but also watching like my favorite TV show. And then like another thing is like, okay, listening to a podcast, like going to the park and while you're walking, like listening to your favorite podcast, listening to like a new album, maybe like calling a friend and talking on the phone. That's like one of my go-tos. So I don't even, like, the time just passes by so easily if I'm just walking and talking to my friend. Like I don't even notice that I've been walking for like an hour, right? Because, if you're talking to your friend, you were just, shooting the breeze, like having a good time, talking about whatever you're talking about. So it's a great way to get the steps in and trick your brain at the same time, which like the main thing here is like, we can do these things, consciously as well, or we kind of do them without even like realizing, like subconscious, like we're like, oh, wait a minute, like I've been walking this whole time and I'm getting these steps in, but it hasn't felt like it. Like it hasn't felt so stressful or daunting because like, just to say, okay, I'm gonna go for a walk, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna walk for like 2 hours, but like not have any type of supplement or anything to pair it with, especially just starting out, makes it like very noticeable that you're doing this walk, right? So first starting out is just like pairing it with something that you love to do is like such a game changer. And that's something that really, really helped me. Another thing is to track the steps. So, it's easy to say like, okay, let me just like get steps, let me go walk. Like I think, because for me, I know that I used to think like, hey, it shouldn't take very long at all to get 10,000 steps, right? Like I walk for 30 minutes, like I should be like pretty much there, right? Like how long do I have to do this to get 10,000 steps? No, like 10,000 steps is roughly 5 miles. So it takes some time to do that, right? Especially depending on the pace that you're going. So in order to keep up with that and know, then I had to track my steps. Like I have my Apple Watch. Like there's a lot of different types of, fitness trackers. There's also like on the phone. There's, even if you're like walking with your phone, like I think that can track it as well. But like I like having my Apple Watch when I walk to help track my steps. And then that way I can look and be like, okay, I'm at 2,000 steps so far. Like, okay, I'm at 5,000. And I just know like how much more I need to go throughout the day. And it's also kind of a motivator. It's like something that can be like, okay, I can look at that and like, wow, like I'm already at this amount of steps. I can also customize certain things to kind of let me know along the way, like, how much more I need. And especially like for just a general workout. And I can, it's a good motivator. So I can turn on my watch for an outdoor walk, and it'll track that and it'll let me know, like it'll go off on each mile. And then also it'll let me know when I've been walking for like 30 minutes, which is just like the standard for me of like getting at least 30 minutes of some type of cardio or workout every day. And again, these can be customized, so just so that it's something that you can keep track of. It can alert you to know like, okay, I'm almost there, this is what I've done so far. It's a lot of like good motivators, like great job, you did 30 minutes, great job, you just did a mile. So all those things like would help to continue to motivate and like trick my brain to like, yeah, we're doing something great and fun, and like it's something that we're just really excited about. So that would also help to trick my brain. So another thing I did to trick my brain was taking the long way. So, I know a lot of us are always looking for like the shortest way, like the shortcut. When I go to the grocery store, I want literally the closest parking spot there is, and I will circle around for like an embarrassingly long amount of time, just circling around the parking lot looking for the closest parking spot, right? And at this point, I'm losing time and all of that when in reality, I can just park further away. So the way that I look at it now, like going to the store is like parking further away. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. Like I'm getting steps in just from parking further away, right? So I used to feel like, oh my gosh, I have to walk so far. But now I see it as like a benefit. And I'm like, look at me being like all healthy and like fit and parking further away to get those extra steps in. So doing things like that, like taking the stairs, wherever there's an opportunity, like not getting on like the escalator, instead like just taking the long way and using the opportunity to just get steps in, especially when it's like involved with what I'd be doing either way, like taking the stairs and like giving myself like time to be able to take those like the long way instead of taking the shortcut. And you'd be surprised, like it all adds up, and like those little moments like is what adds up to being like to adding in those steps and reaching the 10,000 steps a day. So that's another thing, just taking the long way. And excuse me. And so the other thing is like having somewhere to like giving the walk, like instead of saying like, oh, I'm just gonna go for a walk, like having a reason behind the walk can also like help to trick your brain. So instead of like, oh, I'm going for a walk, like, oh, I'm gonna go walk to my friend's house, right? So now again, it doesn't seem as like intense or like something like super hard that you have to accomplish, but instead it's like, I want to go to my friend's house and I'm just going to walk there, right? So now there's like this reward at the end of that, like going to the grocery store and picking up groceries instead of driving there. Also just like taking like, going for like a scenic walk, like, okay, I want to see this new plaza that they just put up, this new store. So I'm going to walk and I'm going to, walk this scenic way. I'm going to go this way that I never go and kind of just be like, just do sightseeing. So like all of those things really help to add up and get those steps, right? Like instead of like driving to work, if it's close enough, like walking to work, and maybe taking like public transportation, just getting to the public transportation, for example, is like another way. Like I know like in the train station, like going up and down the stairs, like, you know what I mean? And also depending on the city that you live in, like if it's a walkable city and there's stores nearby, like you can just kind of like make that a whole event. Like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go to the coffee shop and I'm going to walk a little more and then I'm going to go shopping. Even walking at the mall is so underrated, right? Because now you're in, depending on, where you live with the weather, if it's really hot, like you're in air conditioning, or if it's extremely cold, like you're in a place that is not just with extreme weather. And just even if it's just window shopping or walking around and going shopping, like it is such an easy way to get steps. So I like to have that be my excuse for like going shopping. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get my steps in too. So it's not like, oh, I'm just like, I have this shopping addiction, but like now I'm, getting steps in, and it's just like another way of getting active, but at the same time, like something that I enjoy that I would be wanting to do anyway. So instead of going online and just click, click, click and add to cart, no, I'm going to go into the mall and I'm going to get my steps in. I'm going to go shopping that way. Like if I really want it, then that's something that I make myself do. Like, no, we're going into the mall and we're going to go shopping. And you'd be surprised. Like, it's so easy to just pass time and end up getting a lot of steps by going to the mall. And like in this day and time, I think it's just so easy to order our groceries online, to go shopping online, to get like anything we need today almost can be gotten online, right? So it makes us really lazy. Like it makes us just stay on our couch all day and just scroll and order what we need to. Like we can literally get everything we need and like stay home and not move an inch the entire day. So that ends up being like really unhealthy. So that's just a way that I would make sure that I get my steps in, is like, giving the walks like some other type of purpose, like going to the mall or visiting a friend or anything like that. And speaking of friends, another great way to get steps in and not realize it or not really think about it is incorporating friends with it, right? Like one really great way is to, get competitive with friends, like say like, hey, like let's make a goal and, get this many steps a day and hold each other accountable. I know like the Apple Watch has this thing where you can invite friends and you can kind of like keep a tally and like kind of see each other's goals and see each other's accomplishments for the day. And it's something, it once it gets competitive, then it makes you're like, oh my gosh, like she's done this so much so far, like I'm gonna go work out too, right? It's really motivating, and it's nothing like having a friend or someone you care about that has the same goal as you to motivate you and keep you on track. And then even just, incorporating friends with just like on a non-competitive level, just saying like, hey, like, let's catch up, like haven't talked to you in a while, haven't seen you, like let's go for a walk, right? I know that we all love a good, like, go to a restaurant, and like we involve a lot of things around food. So instead of making it about food every time that we want to catch up with a friend, like, no, like, hey, let's go for a walk, or maybe like, yeah, we can get something to eat, and then after that, like, let's burn it off and let's go walking after. Or like, let that be the reward after we go for a long walk, right? Let's go get something to eat. So it's just kind of, incorporating that into what you would be doing anyways, but instead of just making it all revolve around food, like incorporating that walking element alongside it, and it makes it like a lot less daunting, because again, you're walking, you're talking to your friend, you're catching up. It's just nothing like that. So it doesn't feel as strenuous. Like it's nothing like having someone to go through whatever it is that you are going through, like with you. So instead of it just being you on this walk and it being boring and everything, like, no, now you have like a buddy and you're both doing the same thing. You're both, doing this walk together and you're in it together. So it's nothing like that. So another thing is to set visual cues for a reminder to walk, right? I know that like a lot of times we feel like we have to do something like really strenuous and intense, like we got to be on the stairmaster, go to the gym, running, doing all of this. But in reality, walking in itself is so beneficial. Like when I realized, like, okay, like, girl, calm down. Like, you do not need to be doing sprints, burpees, and going on the stairmaster and just tiring myself out like crazy, running a freaking marathon, like running up and down hills, doing these high intensity interval training classes, like every workout class, doing boxing. Granted, you can do those things, those are fun as well, but like walking itself is so beneficial. So, putting little reminders around the house is something that is also really beneficial. Like whether it's a sticky note on the refrigerator, like, hey, make sure to get these 10,000 steps today. Putting like the walking shoes near the door. So it's like, hey, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like I do need to go for a walk. Like reminders and like maybe your room, just places that that you'll see it, to encourage you to get up and get those extra steps and get up and go for that walk. So that is the other thing that has helped me to just kind of stay in this routine of getting these 10,000 steps a day. And if you're new here, like I mentioned, make sure to subscribe. And thank you so much for watching. Also, again, this channel talks all about fitness and wellness, so there's a lot more videos where this comes from. And let me know down in the comments what else you want to see so that I can make videos like that as well. But thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I can't wait to see you in the next